What happens when the pillar of hope becomes the architect of despair? Imagine the symbol that told the world, "I am here," now stands as the tyrant who declares, "I am in charge." This is the story of how the world's greatest hero could become its most terrifying villain. This is a deep dive into that abyss, a detailed look at the catalyst, the reign, and the devastating consequences of a world where All Might becomes the symbol of fear. A hero of All Might's stature doesn't simply wake up evil. His fall would be a gradual, agonizing descent, a death by 1,000 cuts to his soul. The pressure he endured was already immense. A few critical failures or a profound philosophical shift would be all it would take to shatter his spirit. A massive coordinated villain attack, masterminded by a shadowy figure even more cunning than All for One. This attack targets multiple cities simultaneously, stretching the heroes thin. All Might, in his weakened state, is forced into an impossible choice. Save a school full of children, including promising UA students, or prevent a dirty bomb from detonating in a densely populated metropolitan center. He chooses the city, but his delay results in the tragic loss of several young, aspiring heroes. The public and the Hero Commission, while mourning, praise his logical choice, but Toshinori is haunted. They call it a victory, but I hear their voices. The ones who called my name. I saved millions by sacrificing dozens. The math works, the world is safe, so why does it feel like I've already lost everything? What if this is the only way? To make the hard choices others can't, to cut out the cancer before it spreads. A world without villains requires a will stronger than any hero. This singular event becomes his obsession. He begins to see potential threats everywhere. He starts operating in the shadows, neutralizing minor villains with excessive, permanent force. His smile becomes a mask not for pain, but for cold, calculating fury. He concludes that true peace is a world free from the constant threat of villains and the weakness of sentimental heroes, and it requires absolute order enforced by an absolute power himself. Imagine a world where Sir Night Eye's prediction comes true. In a final brutal confrontation with a resurgent All for One, All Might is on the verge of victory when he sees Deku, his hopeful successor, making a fatal error. In an attempt to save everyone, Deku's actions inadvertently create an opening. All for One seizes this chance not to kill All Might, but to steal One for All from the boy. The transfer is violent and incomplete, leaving Deku quirkless and broken, while All for One escapes, now more powerful than ever. The sight of Midoriya, shattered and empty, breaks something deep within Toshinori. I gave him everything. I chose him. My power, my hope, my dream, and it was all for nothing. Thrown away by a boy's naive sentiment. All for One was right. This power is a burden too great to be shared, and hope is a child's fantasy. There's only power and the will to use it. I have the will, and I will take it all back. His grief curdles into a terrifying rage. He blames not just All for One, but the entire system that fostered such weakness. He begins a ruthless hunt, targeting not only All for One, but also anyone he deems unworthy of their quirk. He starts to believe that power should only be wielded by the strong-willed, and he alone is the ultimate arbiter of who is worthy. His goal shifts from nurturing the next generation to purging the current one. A villainous All Might wouldn't be a cackling maniac. He would be far more terrifying. A righteous tyrant. He would operate with chilling efficiency, using his encyclopedic knowledge of the hero world to dismantle it from the inside out. He would abandon the name All Might, seeing it as a relic of his failed idealism. He might adopt a title like the Justicer or Paragon, casting himself as the world's true and final arbiter of justice. His costume would change, the bright primary colors darkening to a stark, intimidating black and crimson. The iconic V on his chest would remain, but now it would symbolize not victory, but vendetta. His smile would vanish completely, replaced by a permanent, severe frown of righteous judgment. He would start by exposing the corruption within the Hero Public Safety Commission, using his insider knowledge to leak documents and reveal scandals, instantly shattering public trust. His first public act as a villain would be to appear before the world not as a monster, but as a disappointed savior. He would deliver a powerful, sorrowful speech detailing the failures of hero society, the weaknesses of his colleagues, and why his new path is the only way to achieve true, lasting peace. His charisma, once a source of hope, would become a tool of manipulation, swaying many to his cause. He wouldn't simply kill his former comrades, he would retire them. He would appear before heroes like Endeavor, Hawks, and Best Jeanist, not for a battle to the death, but to demonstrate their utter powerlessness. He would defeat them effortlessly, breaking their spirit and resolve, often leaving them with a permanent injury that prevents them from being a hero ever again, a chilling mirror of his own fate. All Might knows he can't be everywhere at once. He would use his influence and intimidating presence to recruit a team of powerful followers, individuals disillusioned with the current system. This could include former heroes, vigilantes who agree with his methods, and even powerful villains offered a pardon in exchange for serving his new world order. They would act as his lieutenants, enforcing his iron will across the nation. The world's reaction would be a mixture of terror, disbelief, and heartbreaking resolve. If Deku survives the catalyst, his mission becomes the most tragic in history. He would be the focal point of the resistance, the only one who truly understands the man All Might once was. Every punch he throws would be a strike against his own heart. His primary goal wouldn't be to kill All Might, but to reach the sliver of Toshinari Yagi that might still be buried within the tyrant, making their confrontations emotionally charged and devastating. He would have to master One for All, not just to match All Might's power, but to surpass his ideology. Bakugo's entire worldview is predicated on All Might being the ultimate symbol of victory. Seeing his idol fall would enrage him beyond measure. This would be the ultimate test of his character. He would be forced to move beyond his explosive rage and become a true leader and strategist, working alongside Deku not out of friendship, but out of a shared, desperate need to restore the meaning of victory that All Might corrupted. He would be the one to remind everyone that true strength never gives in to despair. In a cruel twist of fate, Endeavor would become the world's de facto #1 hero and the leader of the opposition. The man who spent his life chasing All Might's shadow would now be forced to stand against the man himself. This would be his ultimate redemption arc, forcing him to become the symbol of hope he never thought he could be, not for fame or glory, but because if he doesn't, no one else can. The fall of the world's greatest hero would send shockwaves across the globe. International heroes would be hesitant to intervene, fearing All Might's power and the political fallout. Villain organizations worldwide would either fall in line under this terrifying new order or be ruthlessly crushed. Japan would become a quarantined nation under the iron fist of the Justicar, a grim testament to a failed utopia. The very concept of heroism would be on trial, as the world watches and waits to see if a small, determined group of young heroes can possibly defeat a god who has lost his faith. But what do you think? Would Deku be able to save his mentor's soul, or would he be forced to destroy him? Share this scenario and let us know your theories on how the world could fight back against a fallen god. And I'll catch you next time.